let's start with this. You've been over at Inside the NFL a lot. We've been running into each other every week, eating lunch and shit.
Yeah, that was great. You guys did a great job. That was awesome, man. Just watching you guys on that show.
Thank you.
Kind of, it was cool for me to see almost. I know, like, we live our lives in the film room, but like I could see, with you like snapping right back into the like, hey, I'm learning. Like, let me learn. Let me take notes. And you can't help to do that when you're around Bill. Obviously, you want to absorb as much as you can all the time from him. But I know what's really cool as a coach when you have players that you talk to later and they're like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, wow, man, they were paying attention.
Yeah, we were paying attention.
It was super great to watch you guys do that. And like,
they did care.
Like, exactly.
Oh, they did care.
You just tried to make an impact.
Yeah,
that's like super cool.
And it's been so cool because like, when we're all playing together, coaching together, like we really all are coworkers.
Yeah.
And like we're all in the middle of a stressful thing where we're after one thing. Like we hang out and we have fun, and you and I had a blast in New England.
Yep.
But it's cool now to see everybody on the other side.
Yeah.
And to be like a peer of Bill's, like, which I don't want to use that too loosely, but I have a lot of fun sitting in production meetings with him.
What's fun is like so obviously when we're in that pressure cooker and we're trying to win, right? You got that. It's like, shit, we gotta win. We gotta win. But once that's taken away and we can actually just talk and like, that's the best.
Yeah.
Part. That's where the relationships are like the best.
It's really fun seeing coaches like once you're retired and you chop it up. You're like, hey, what about this? What about that? Like guys you're with, guys on the other side of the ball. It's like seeing like you go away to college, as like an 18-year-old and you come back as like 22-year-old and you see your dad and you're like, oh, like we're both like men.
Oh, we're the same. We're the same. I'm an adult too.
It's like, it's so much fun.
But I still never feel like I'm the same as Bill. Like Bill he's like, now he cut it up with us all year. And like, honestly, I tried to tell people like, he's not the guy you think he is. Like he is, but he's not. Like he's going to have something every day in a production meeting, and Nolan's here too. He's in the production meetings that I like my face hurts from laughing.
Yeah.
And he's great. And I think he made everybody on the show better. And like Chad was amazing this year. Chad's a star, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I felt like this year was so big for Chad. And one of the keys, in my opinion, was Bill being with him because it just brought out this excitement in Chad.
Yeah. That was the coolest part when Chad came to us. It was his personality and you know how it is. Like you were in the building. Everyone's like, oh, we got to kill. Wait, I don't want to kill anybody's personality.
No.
Like Chad coming in
he's got so much charisma.
It was so much life. It was so much
Trust
joy. Like
me.
every day I was like, we'd be dying.
Trust me, I made myself at home.
Yeah,
I was myself.
Yeah, it's great. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Well, the thing I love about Coach is like you guys spent more time with him than me, but I was on IR in New England and like it was COVID year. I'm on IR. I don't have shit to do, so I'm just watching. You know what I mean? And he truly loves football players. Like he has his guys, and we interviewed Vince Wilfork the other day. It's like he has his guys that he loves, and he brings them up nonstop. But even guys that he never coached, just guys that he has so much respect for. I think that's so cool. To be the best coach of all time, you still have such an appreciation and respect for these other players. It's a really cool thing.
He does.
He loves the game, but he really loves the players. It's a cool thing.
So who do you think coaches? Let's say like if we're guessing, Bill's Mount Rushmore of like favorite untouchable players. I know one. He stopped us. We fucking beat the brakes off Cleveland, and then he's like, "Stop the bus!" Like outside the stadium, and the whole team is in front of the Jim Brown statue.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Yep.
LT's the other.
Yep. Brady.
And then the fourth, I think.
Who'd you say?
Rodney.
Ooh, Rodney's definitely up there.
Richard Seymour?
Rodney's phenomenal. Richard's phenomenal.
But
I think he's going to switch gears. Don't forget, Bill at heart, special teams.
Yeah.
Right.
He's going to go special teams route. And I'm going to say Matt Slater over Adam Vinatieri. He would put up there.
But you should have heard him talk about Rodney Harrison.
Oh, no. Rodney's like, listen.
Yeah.
Rodney Harrison. Oh, my God. We love that dude.
Yeah.
Like my old heads back in the day when my linebacker room was like, Brewski, Jr., Willie, Vrabel, Roosevelt Colvin, Larry Izzo, Chad Brown. Like that room was, I didn't know if we were going into coach football or fight. Like I wasn't sure. Like alpha dogs, but Hot Rod would come in and it was just a whole nother level of like intensity. And man, that guy, I love Hot Rod. He would, like we'd be running the show teams and I'd be doing special teams. And I'm like holding the cards up and, trying to get all the guys. And again, Adam Vinatieri is my kicker on the show team. I got Troy Brown in the huddle, great players. And, Hot Rod would come in and he'd grab a beanie and he'd put it on. He's like, we don't need this card. I'm like, okay. And he'd like line up and we'd like kick it. And we were in full pads. And he would like, whoom, he'd be running down. And he'd like, blowing dudes up. They'd be like yard sale, like bodies everywhere. You
Yeah.
go down, you get the running back, throw it down, you look at the special teams coordinator, like, you better get a better return. That one stinks. And he'd like walk off and I'd be like,
I love that.
okay, this is unbelievable. You know, it was like, that guy was, he was unbelievable.
The stories that Vince was talking about, like the 2-minute drills at the end of practice where like it'd be Vrabel and Brady going at each other, and then you'd have to like they'd be like lining up again.
Herb Brooks again, get on the line.
And it was the players saying, we want to do it again.
Yeah.
You know, because of competition, not somebody fucking it up, but somebody won the drill.
Yeah.
And so the other guy's not going to take that. And, you know, like it just those stories, once the players kind of take ownership of shit, like you're winning.
You know what's so great for us as coaches, honestly, we had such great players like yourself, and the building was so awesome. A lot of times you just really just sit back and watch, you know, and you'd be like, okay, here's the herd, and the herd is moving in this direction, and like maybe some guy's left behind in the herd, and you're like, okay, that guy probably doesn't fit. And you know, it was all about trying to build the best team. You know, it was the best team for us was going to win, and honestly, the players dictated it. You know, the players knew better than you did. You know, who was going to be responsible or out there, and they knew who they wanted to play next to and all that stuff. So it was really cool to watch, you know, especially as a young coach, and then to be able to carry that through as you're developing those other guys.
What do you miss about actually being on the grind?
Yeah. Well, you know, what's nice is like, I miss this, right? I miss like being in the room, being in the building, hanging out, and like obviously with the players was so special, but even the coaches, you know, like we're
coaches are just players, for the most part.
Coaches are just guys who don't want to go home.
Especially in Foxborough.
Yeah, dude. I'd be there late as shit, and he was always there in the hot tub.
I know, you come by, like, you okay? And I'm like, I'm not okay.
You told me a story one time, Coach. I gotta ask you. You told me a story one time. They went in the hot tub, or you went to the facility, saw you eating some pizza in the hot tub.
Yeah, he was
Bro,
like,
I had to kill 2 birds with one stone.
He's so busy. He's so busy. Matty P, those guys, like, it was like the best facility ever. Like, as far as they had the state of the art stuff, and all that stuff.
The calf was great.
But like, dudes,
the calf is
if
great.
you're smart, you'd hang out at the facility all day because like
there isn't shit else to do in Foxborough either.
Oh yeah, and I was on North Road, which is like right behind.
Yeah.
So it was so easy to go in. And I just remember picking a spot before I got there, and I was like, "There's no fucking way I'm living that far from Bill Belichick's meeting." My nightmare was waking up late for. Oh my god!
Like, what time is it? Oh my god! And then you're running.
Oh yeah, I know.
I was in the hot. Yeah, definitely pizza in the hot tub.
The za, dude. The za. He had the za.
I was trying to kill 2 birds with one stone.
Coach, it's funny you say that. Like the thing you miss most is just fucking around, chopping it up. Like you talk to any real guy that played for a long time, it's like you ask him, "What do you miss?" It's always the guys. You know, it's like that's what we try to do here. Like we used to fuck around the hotel. You know, the night before the game.
Night before,
you're playing cards. You're just laughing, telling stories. You know, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
it's our favorite. My favorite memory, like I think back to like Philly or New England.
Yeah.
Was like staying up late on a Saturday night, later than we probably should have, because like we're still down in the meal room at 10:30.
Right.
And that moment when you look up and you've been sitting there with 5 of your best buddies who are doing this thing tomorrow that's incredibly intense, and we have to rely on each other. But like we're just cutting up a little bit and laughing, and you look up at some point and you're like, fuck guys, it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go, dude.
You're watching a Pac-12 game and you're like, all right, we gotta go.
But that was like when we get to the hotel, and I always loved, even during training camp, we'd go away for a week because it was like we can just leave everybody behind and let's just go hang. Let's just go hang.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, hey, make sure you guys go to dinner someplace. Make sure you guys go do something together.
Yeah.
And you could sit back as a coach and watch the meal room, and especially Saturday night. Like if there was a good SEC game or something, because you knew half the team was going to be yelling at each other, and it's coming down to the end, and these guys are on these guys. There's the one guy who's like cheering with a minute left because they just scored, and then 50 seconds later the game goes the other way and Alabama wins and 20 guys are killing that dude, and you're like, this is great.
Dude, watching Miami and Florida State with Nigel and Timmy and those guys, like those guys were, I mean, it means a lot.
And then they tell the little stories that you don't get to hear, you know, unless you're there, and you're just like, this is the fucking best.
So here's something I wanted to ask you, Matt, because I feel like if I get Bill, which I'm hoping I do at some point, I'm not gonna be like, hey coach, I don't remember what y'all said at halftime. Because it's such a blur.
Yeah.
But 28-3,
Yeah.
people are always like, hey, what went on at halftime? And I'm like,
you don't remember?
Honestly, we stretched.
Yeah.
We made sure we were fucking loose because it's a 40-minute halftime.
Yeah.
And it was like, Bill came in, and I think he said like something to the effect of one play at a time is the only way we're going to get back in this game.
Yep.
and Jules and Dew
Duran.
and guys
It
like,
was Duran.
and Dew goes, we're gonna win this game.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, can we just start with a stop?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Like
I tell you, so here's what happened. We go in at halftime, and if you remember, it was Friday night before the game. I had just gotten done watching the Chargers play Atlanta, and it was the same thing. Chargers were way down in the first half, and they came back in the fourth quarter and wound up kicking a field goal to beat Atlanta. So we watched the game on Saturday when we had our last meeting. I said, hey, just watch this. I said, they're going to, they start fast, but watch this game. And it was the Chargers. So right before we went in at half, I said, in my head, I was like, we just saw this game. I'm like, we literally just saw it. So we went in at halftime, and it's longer. So we go in and we do the, hey, here's what happened in the first half. And then we break, let you guys do what you're doing. And then I went and I changed everything. I was like, hey, listen, we're going to all the red area calls. We got to get Julio. Because, of course, we went in there and like, Julio's hurt. Like, he can only cut this way. So we're going to leverage him here. And, like, first play, he catches the in cut, reaches over Logan, catches it. I was like, whoa, we got to change all this right now. Like, we're totally
He's
wrong.
Still good.
He's good. So I'm that guy. Oh, my God. So going at halftime, I tell the coaches, hey, we're adjusting everything. We're going to, like, leans and doubles and taking Julio out, and then the fronts, we were changing some of the fronts up. And I remember I got back in front of everybody, and I was like, all right, listen, this is how it's going to go. First play, they're going to run the ball. Hi, I need a TFL. I go, third down, we got to get off the field. We're going to push the coverage here. I'm like, it's coming backside. E-row, that's going to be you out of 3-by-1. And I go, it's going to be a 3 and out. We're going to be good. I'm like, this is just like the Charger game. We watched it the other day. Mm-hmm. And Dew was on the bike, and he was pedaling. And as Duran is pedaling, you could feel him, like, Duran.
Yeah, he was charging
like, hey,
up.
He was charging up. And I don't know why, because we were kind of separate. Julian comes walking in, and Jules is like walking in, and Duran and Jules, they start chirping at each other. Yeah. And I just remember turning around going, holy shit, we're going to win this game. Yeah. I was like, we're going to, because it was just like, everybody locked in. Yeah. And we did come out. They ran to high, TFL. They came back out. We got the third down stop back to E-row. And then as the game went, it was like one play. And then we got to the turnover. And we knew that, I knew it because the running back got hurt.
I heard you talking about that whole
You remember
thing.
that?
Well, yeah, I happen to have a different vantage point through the back of the tackle's head.
I know.
But I was like, damn, how'd you get there so fast?
Yeah. It was great because he just, we walked late and it was all, came and got. I just thought we were going to scoop and score. Yeah. I thought we were going to get it, and Branch wound up recovering it.
That's where I really, I always believe, because, I'm here, I have to believe. There's no point in, honestly, belief is cool. But you're fucking there. Yeah. Finish the game. Yep. Finish the game. But that ball, when it hit the ground, is when I think everybody started believing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think the tide turned. Yep. And it kind of goes back to talking about the Chiefs. Late in games, teams playing the Chiefs get tight, they make mistakes, and you could feel them start to. The ghost of who they have been. Exactly. You know what I mean? You
nailed it. So the Chiefs are winning in a different way, right? You game plan them. It's not the normal game plan. You got to do certain things to kind of, obviously Patrick Mahomes, but it's not the normal measures, right? It's not the turnover ratio. It's not this. It's not the rush game, because there's different ways that they're winning. But the one thing that I think is really cool, and it's the same experience we had when you were at New England, is there was something about New England where there was a mystique. There was something always, there was going to be doubt in your opponent's head. Now, you were going to get their best shot. Yeah. But once you saw that moment where you did something and you gave them in that doubt, you'd see it in their eye. You'd see it and you'd be like, it's go time.
We felt that in the Super Bowl at times.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. No, and great teams feel that.
When we played y'all, we had to get certain guys, man, hey, stop looking at the fucking logo.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Hey, these guys are amazing. Yep. I was in the locker room with them. They're amazing. But it's a football team.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. There is something about a collective will of a team, just this intangible thing where it's just these guys, they have this belief, and it manifests itself on the field. It's crazy.
Which is why we love this game. Yeah. Because it still has that. And I remember when you went to Philly, do you remember texting me? Because we had just won, and you had texted me hey, he's like, I think these guys are really special, and I think we can do something here. And I was like, well, listen, you're a great leader. You know what it looks like. Yeah. Go paint the picture for them and go. And you're like, I appreciate that. And, we stayed in touch that way.
Yeah, dude. Well, we've talked ever since. And that was the whole thing. When I left New England, I really didn't have, it was literally just a pragmatic decision by me as a 33-year-old man or whatever I was, where it's all right, I only have so much time left. I got to go and play in a scheme that kind of fits what I'm doing. Yeah. And y'all.
Because first of all, you are the most unselfish player ever. I'm telling you,
No,
we've
I'm
had
right
this
here. I'm
we've
right
had-
here, coach. Come on.
We've had this conversation
Yeah.
before, and look, coming in there is not easy, and for us, because whatever, we had to change some things.
Yeah.
And you were great because as an older veteran, you sat down and I said, listen, I don't want to do this, but this is what we got to do. And you're like, hey, I'll do whatever we need to do.
Do whatever.
I fuck with Chris all the time because he's like, I'm down there playing 3 technique,
Yeah.
and it's like,
I know.
like he's joking about it. But it's like,
I enjoy playing the run. I love being in a 4-eye. I love being in a fucking 6. But a 3 can be a little tough.
Yeah.
And at that year, I was like probably 260.
Yeah.
And
then we had the conversation. You were like, "Hey, can I move?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. Like, listen, you know what you have to do. Just do it. I don't care where you are." And then, but just your unselfishness to do that, to help us put other pieces in play, which we needed to do.
But that's what it takes for
awesome.
everybody in the locker room. And
but that was awesome.
But every dude, and I'm not going to come that far, Matt, and say, "Hey, I was done before I came to y'all.
Yeah.
Like I got hurt 2 years in a row, and I said I'm fucking done. I had a son. I'm in the hospital when Bill calls. I go to the supermarket, Bill calls. Otherwise, I'm like kind of done. BD texts me in the hospital. And that's where it all starts for me. And I wasn't going to come that far and then not do what it took to feel what y'all felt.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to feel what y'all felt.
Yeah.
And, man, like, I always say this, like, y'all saved my fucking career. And some of the best times of my life were had in Philly and in New England.
Yeah.
And you know how much I go back to Philly, and it really clicked with me. The city, the whole thing.
Feel the same.
But I don't even have that if it's not going to New England because I was ready to quit.
Yep.
And so I just appreciate you guys,
man. I told you guys the night before the game. I said, we win tomorrow, we'll be bonded for life.
Yeah.
I said we'll be bonded for life, and it's something because we'll experience something together that not a lot of people can do. And
we just had this conversation with Malcolm and Rodney.
Rod were sitting here. I said the same thing. It's like that's the best part about winning, man. It's like you get together and you always have that. It's like, hey, what's up? It's so good to see you, champ.
You pick right up.
Yeah, it does.
Great.
When I saw you in Philly, when you were there in Philly, I was so happy to see you.
So
it's
excited.
just like it's all big hugs and bro.
Yep.
I mean,
right back in the moment.
But man, like the group of guys on that team, and this is the thing, like New England. People have like reputations that they apply to like what it's probably like and the whole thing. And like my buddy Lane said it wasn't fun. So everybody I said it wasn't fun. I had a ton of fun with the people in that building. Right. Hightower, Jules, Dola, Ninko. I had so much fun with Rob. How much fun did me and Rob have,
you
bro?
guys are like
it was like stepbrothers.
All the time. I'm like, listen, I'm like, are you guys okay today? They're like, and you're giggling. And I'm like, they're fine. Just
hey, I was just texting with Ninko yesterday, but like, I say this, the quality of the people in that building, the men, dude, like you play with a lot of players, but I'm talking about like a grown man. Hightower to me, younger than me, and I've told him this, he was a special leader. Yeah. And there were special leaders. Matt Slater. Yeah. Yeah. Would if I had to leave, sorry guys, including you, Meg, one of my best friends in the world, known him forever. But if I had to leave and drop my kids off at somebody's house, I had to skate for 2 weeks. It's Matt Slater. Yeah, easily. I've
already tried to get Matt, like his son with my daughter, because I already know like it's gonna be that's how good of a guy he is. This is who I need my daughter to marry, is his son.
But it's a self-selective thing. Yeah. And it's like you're not gonna sign up for that tough road if you're not fully opting in. You know what time it is. Yep. And so when you go to New England, you just have to check. And it was hard sometimes to like check your ego. Like everybody's got one, dude. Right. There were fucking weeks where I was frustrated with you, with BD. Yeah. Sometimes I want to choke BD. And that's my homie from back in St. Louis. Like I was with BD before he had any of these fucking rings.
Can we talk about that? This is what, Super Bowl 10? How many Super Bowls has this coach been in?
Dude, I was with BD when he got let go in St. Louis, fired the whole staff. Yep. We had a beer at Kruger's down the hill in Clayton. I'm like, what are you going to do next? He's like, I got some irons in the fire. Like, I might. And then like 7 years later, he's got like a bill hand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, good for him.
Oh,
but it's not all sunshine every day.
No.
As Jerry Jones would say.
Yeah. Well, the grind is what makes the highs a little bit higher.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite memory from that year that people might not remember?
Out of 16?
You got too many great memories. It's hard.
I've been very blessed, for sure. Obviously the big game is, put that one aside, but I think besides, us and the team, I think one of the cooler things for me was my son was finally a little bit old enough to kind of like understand what was going on. Because most of my, like my kids were little, but seeing his eyes, see it, kind of reminds you of like, okay, I remember being that age and like falling in love with football and being around it. So that's always something to me. Like that was about the time when they started to get in.
That's
like having the
cool.
confetti come down and they're doing like snow
That's super
angels and
cool.
stuff like that, and having those pictures are it's a lot of fun.
I got a completely different question, kind of in the same vein. You said your favorite memory from that season. I love asking this from guys that played forever because sometimes it sticks out more. Is there one play that still haunts you? You know what I mean? It keeps you up at night. I know there's one. I love asking vets this because they've made so many plays, but
it's an easier question to answer than what's your favorite.
Yeah,
play.
It is. Like I remember all.
Yeah.
Like I mean, honestly, I'm still hurts. I mean that's 17.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You're welcome. But that
You'll
one,
be
kills,
okay.
that one,
I
kills
think you'll
me.
be okay.
That one kills me right now.
Yeah.
But those are the ones you remember are the ones that really.
It's crazy because you've such a storied history and coaching, and for us as players, it's like, oh yeah, I made some great plays, but it's like I got fucking rolled on this double team that one time, or I missed this sack,
or plays that nobody remembers, and
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, I
And
was
you
so
think of it,
close,
and then
or I
you
just
see
did
a
something
guy
wrong.
who's on the other side of it. They bring it up, you're like, yeah, you fucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so funny. It's
All right,
interesting.
I got a sequence. Atlanta's up 28-20, 4 minutes left. They're on the plus 22.
Yep.
And then they back up 23 yards.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that happened?
Yeah.
Well, that's
absolutely.
a fucking layup, but it's also stupid as hell that they even backed up.
Well, so here's the deal.
I'm sorry,
so
Kyle Shanahan.
Julio, I'm right here. Julio catches it. His arms,
It's the most spectacular.
they go 10 feet long, and he catches the ball, and I see the whole thing. And unfortunately, like in the big game, I've had this moment, right? I've had David Tyree, who I coached in college, didn't catch anything, right? This is the one you catch. This is the one you're catching, Dave. Yeah.
Part.
I'm like, what are we doing? Then, so that's in Arizona. Then I go 14 and 11. Right. So I got the one on the sideline with Manningham on, we're in Tampa too. We've knocked out both tight ends. They're on the third tight end. They're running double seam. I'm like telling the safety, I'm trying to get the safety wide because I know where it's going. And he catches this ridiculous thing in front of me there. So I have those two. Then we go 14 and we got the juggling catch that goes down in Arizona again in the same building. And they're like, he caught it. And I'm like, I hate this place. Like, I hate this building. This game is killing me.
That was a curse play.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I'm like, this building stinks, right?
Yeah.
So Julio catches it here. I don't know how. And everyone's in the headsets saying, he's out of bounds. He's out. And I'm like, fellas, his toes are there, but his arms are like way over. I'm telling you, he caught this thing.
Believe it or not.
I just went into mode. And I'm like, okay, first one's going to be a run. So I had Devin Blitz
Yeah.
to get the TFL. Now they go backed up. And everyone's yelling in the headset, they're going to run it again. They're going to run it again. And I'm like, no, they're not. I just, like you have those moments in the game where things slow down. They had the quarterback of the year. They had the offensive coordinator of the year. I'm like, they're going to throw it.
That's
now,
crazy.
I just knew it. I was like, they're going to throw it. And everyone's, everybody's yelling, they're going to run it. And I was like, so we went diamond. We went to 5 down. I had the peel call.
Forgot about that.
Right? So everything's lining up and I'm looking and the back is wide. I'm like, oh, it's a wheel route. I was like, this is not good. This is not good right now. And I'm like, oh, this is about to be a huge play. So snap, he wheels it. Trey. I love Trey.
He balled.
I love
man.
I love this man.
Yeah.
He's on the nose. He hit it. Boom. Knocks him down. I was like, oh, he totally saved me, right?
Yeah.
So like,
So
coaches are only good
He was
because of
open.
players.
Was
Coaches
he open on the wheel?
Huh? We were peeling on it. It was
Just a bad matchup. Was it Shea or me?
No, it was
Well, either one.
no, who gosh,
You don't want either. You
was
definitely don't want me running with the wheel.
No, it wasn't. I'll think of who it was. But it was like I was like, oh, we're like, we're in trouble. Trey saved me.
Jabal, maybe.
It was Jabal.
Yeah.
It was.
Don't want Jabal running with the wheel either.
No, you don't want him running. And he didn't want to run with the wheel either. He's kind of probably looking at me like, can I just go? Yeah, let me go. So Trey saves us, and then we get to the next play.
Yeah.
And on the wheel, the one where Trey sacks him, I'm watching high, and he's getting held.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, they're going to throw. And then I was like, so I click, and then I'm clicking. I'm like, hey, we're going to get a holding call here. Just, do the same thing.
Yeah.
And we got the holding call, and they completed it. We got the holding call, pushed him back again.
Yeah.
And I was like, here we go.
But
And
why
then,
throw it a second time? It's just like one of the biggest mysteries, and I'm okay not having the answer to in my life.
I mean, I've had 2 of those plays in the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
sometimes they throw it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they throw it, and sometimes you got to pick it off, or sometimes you got to sack the quarterback.
I thought it was over when Julio caught the ball.
It was really. It's the most.
It's crazy the way you fight so hard.
Yeah.
And like you think maybe it's over at 28-3.
Yeah.
And me and Ninko sitting on the bench, he told me leading up to the game, I was all excited. He goes, if you lose this game, you'll wish you were never here. And at halftime, I looked at him. I was like, is this the feeling? And so you think it's like over there. And then you climb the mountain and we fight so hard.
Yeah.
And when he caught the ball, I remember just like looking over and thinking, damn, the whole year flashed before my eyes. Like, it's over, bro.
No.
I just could not believe it.
There's more to go.
Could not believe
There's
it.
more to go. And you just got to keep going.
Yeah. And then when Tom got the damn ball in overtime,
Yeah.
I was like, me, Branch, High.
Yeah.
As soon as we won the toss, take our helmets off, and we go, let's go sit down and watch.
Yeah. And
because we're not going back on the field.
And poor Devin McCourty, right? So he unfortunately has been through this with me before, where even after in the Seattle Super Bowl, Malcolm picked it. So I'm in my head going, all right, look, we're on the minus whatever. Like they could get it at the 50. They feel like I'm going through scenarios because I'm just like, what's the next scenario? Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing was at the end of the game before overtime, we cover kicks, pin them down, we stop them. And I literally remember clicking on the bill and I was like, we're about to win the Super Bowl in the craziest rule no one's ever heard about because I thought we were going to get the free kick.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, we're going to get the free kick.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to overtime. So now I'm instantly like with the DBs now. And I'm like, hey, coverage wise, here's where we're going. And like, no one's looking at me. Like no one's paying any attention because the offense is out there. And I didn't even care. I just needed to talk to somebody. And I did not want to see what was going on behind me. Yeah. So I know Devin was like, yeah, we got you, Matty P. We got you. We're good. We're good. Tom's about to score right now.
Let us enjoy this.
You can keep talking if you want to, if that makes you feel better. But we're about to score.
We sat down, bro.
Yeah.
We just knew. I mean, it was
crazy.
And the release after that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you stack them up if you have a favorite one, but just the way we came back was just like.
Yeah, they're all like your kids,
They're all kids. You can't pay. They love them differently.
You love them all differently,
That's
And I just remember like being on the bus after the Atlanta game, and I get on the bus and it's Bill's in front of me. It's myself and my wife and Josh McDaniels and his wife. I think Tom was in the back, and that was the only people on the bus. Tom's on the phone. He's doing whatever he's doing. And I remember just sitting there and being like, did we win? Like, because the Seattle game was like back and forth. Like you were kind of in the wave of the game. The Atlanta game, I didn't see Jules' catch till like 2 days later. Like, like I never saw any of that because you were just like, next play, here's what we're doing, staying in the moment. And I'm looking at Josh. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I don't know what happened on your side. And like, we're kind of looking at each other. And then Bill like turns around and goes, all right, look, he goes, we play these guys next year, and they're probably going to make this the opening game. So when we get back, can we make sure we go? And I'm like, I don't even know if we won.
Yo,
I was like, what are you
so
talking about? I was like,
funny.
like, look at it.
Build on to the next one.
I don't even know if we won the game. And like, we're talking about goods and bads and game plan stuff. It was insane.
Yo, that's insane.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did we win the game? Like, I don't know.
That's what makes Bill next level.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, dude, if it weren't for you and Bill, man, I tell you what. I tell people all the time, if we lost that game and y'all didn't pull a rabbit out of your head, I wouldn't be doing this fucking podcast. I'd be somewhere hiding. So.
I can never thank you guys enough for letting me coach and try to help you guys play a great game. And I'm just like, players win games, man. I was just there trying to do everything I could to help. So
we had a blast.
Yeah.
For the people who are wondering, New England was fun, and this is my guy.
Well, listen, I love Philly too, and Lane. Like he's the best.
Isn't he awesome?
Yeah.
You got to go meet the enemy. I was like, dude, I got bad news. You're gonna like everybody. and I know the guys loved having you, man. So
yeah, it was
thanks
great
for coming on the pod.
Yeah,
man.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
And thanks for eating lunch with me all year.
Always, I had to make sure you're all right. And then we're still exiting up. Like, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah,
it's a 2-part question. As a coach, what's the worst kind of loaf you can have as a player?
Ooh. That's a good one.
Then is there any loaf you could think about as a coach in your career that you're just like, that was just awful?
I mean, sounds like this is a setup question. So I think hopefully Chris was probably loafing somewhere, and I'm trying to think of when was he loafing, and did I yell at him?
I wasn't trying to go
loaf.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing for me on the loafs was, I know there's the whole change of speed thing. Like I get all that, but sometimes like, I've coached a lot of good players, and some of these guys are like, hey, man, listen, I know I changed speeds, but I'm just telling you, I wasn't catching that dude anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, okay, I get that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
my fast speed is the same as my slow speed.
Yeah.
So there is no change of speed,
Yeah.
so I don't really understand that stuff. So I got to trust you on it. But the thing that would make me the most upset is if they scored. Like, if it was something that was like, if something happened because we scored and I saw like you had a chance to impact the play, like backside, you weren't really doing much, and all of a sudden it got out. Because we get in those modes where, and this is true. These guys were such good tacklers that honestly a lot of guys like, oh, Chris got him, and I'd stop because he never missed. Never missed, and then all of a sudden
I wasn't a great
you.
tackler.
But
I missed a lot of tackles.
we had
But that's
great,
why we had guys
great,
behind us.
We did. But we had great tacklers, and then you'd like, oh, he's got it. And then you'd almost like lower your standard down to play. And that's when I was like, no,
because
man.
you relax and you're like, dude's got him.
He's got him. He's good.
Got him.
Like, no, you cannot lower your standard for your play.
Here's the, in my opinion, as I'm not a coach, but I'll tell you this. Fucking watching football a long time. The Ben Watson tackle against
05.
Denver.
05 champ. Yeah.
The
playoff game.
Those are the reasons.
Yeah.
Like
of it,
it's red zone for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
It's the hardest place on the field to score. If you can get a guy down at the 4, it's not like there's no point.
No,
there's a whole series of plays you can get off the field. So
I was upstairs on that one. I was 05 in the playoff game, and
I know that's a turnover.
It
but
was
we're
happened
talking
here,
about
and he lit it.
That was an amazing effort
It
play.
was unbelievable. I was like, oh my, he's gonna catch him.
No question.
I was like, he's going.
Hey, Jared Verse was getting it in one of those games this year, bro. He can
Yeah.
run a little bit
He
when he
can
opens
run.
it up.
He can go.
I'd love to see the effort.
Yep.
Matty P, thank you.
I appreciate you
for
guys
your
so
effort.
much. Well, thanks so much for having me.